I want you guys to think about what you do to be green, to be environmentally friendly. We all know what we need to do. We hear it over and over again. We need to save water, we need to recycle, we need to ride our bikes, and we need to change our light bulbs. Even when buying our household items, cleaning products, we look for that little green leaf on the label, proving that we're making some sort of environmentally conscious decision. It kind of becomes an automatic response sometimes. I've seen people stop at those massive garbage cans and take that extra 30 seconds to remove their coffee cup lid and sleeve and place them in the exact container. I'm sure you've all experienced those times when you're walking down the street and you just want to yell at somebody. Like when you see someone littering, throwing a gum wrapper on the floor. Or when you see someone idling their car. They're not doing anything. They're just sitting there, polluting the environment and wasting gas. How hard is it to turn off your car? And how could you be so careless, right? It's so easy. Just turn off your car or find a garbage can. But I've also got to admit, I take 15-minute showers. I love them. I mean, it's just so easy to stay in there and soak up the heat on a cold day. I mean, I know I shouldn't be wasting water, and I know I could be doing better, but sometimes after a long day, that long shower is just really what I need. Can't I just allow myself that one bite? So what I'm saying is, it's really easy to keep living the way we're used to. All these initiatives we've learned about put responsibility on us, as individuals, to make a change. But we still live in a world where we each have a car in our driveway, and stores are packed with goods assembled halfway across the world. And we're working and living and playing in larger geographical spaces than we've ever had before. Nobody knows for sure what tomorrow will bring, or what the world will look like in 10, 50, 100 years. We're all busy people with good intentions, and we're hopeful about our future, however uncertain it may be. But that makes it difficult for us to coordinate our efforts as individuals attempting to improve our collective futures. It's pretty easy to see. Our reliance on the hope that members of society will individually pitch in to help the environment by recycling or changing the light bulbs or using environmentally friendly products isn't making a great enough impact on the world. So here's what we're proposing. It's time we consider other alternatives that might address sustainability more adequately than us trying to do it ourselves. Why don't we turn our hurdle on its head and create in our neighborhoods a community of people that make it easy to make the right decision? Why don't we build environments in our backyards in which the sustainable choice is accessible, supported, and convenient? Instead of trying to force a circular peg into a square hole, why don't we work towards creating spaces for ourselves where we can find support for our communal initiatives? So in the words of David Fleming, we need to apply small-scale solutions within a large-scale framework in order for us to not only combat, but also prepare for upcoming environmental uncertainties. The concept is simple. If you care for your local surroundings and your neighbors, you can help build the strongest and most resilient community. Teach each other and learn from one another. The belief that you have something to give your neighbors and have something to learn from them can go a long way. At the core of the community is the notion of cooperation over competition. Instead of competing individually, engage cooperatively. This will make your community more likely to be resilient in the face of future environmental changes, uncertainties, and surprises we're going to be facing. Building community is based on a hugely important social component. It requires relating and socializing with other people to increase levels of intimacy and trust in order to overcome the alienation occurring in our cities. We know that tight-knit communities are better able to reinforce common goals, common concerns, and common values. The results are clear. People can feel the benefits of helping and cooperating. Communities that have individuals who are closer with one another are more likely to support each other in times of need and when faced with disruptive events or changes. We're arguing that rather than individual actions, goals for our future sustainability are more likely to be achieved by engaging in collective action and community involvement. Small-scale endeavors combine to compose large-scale changes. It's at the grassroots that change begins, and community provides the foundations for citizens to have a voice, be part of improvement efforts, and feel as though they're making a valuable impact on the environment. By developing citizen perspectives on their home and their health, in their own communities, and in their own environments, community-building initiatives are foundational in initiating dialogue and actions that respond to and challenge local norms. Small-scale efforts at the community level can act as small ripples that will make bigger waves at the larger scale. Importance must be placed on the type of action, and we believe that collective action through community building can create those impactful waves. It's important to note that community isn't something that's built overnight. It requires consistent engagement and dedication from all its participants. History tells us that humans are more adaptive as a group than as individuals. Commitment from all members is essential to the success growth, and resilience capabilities of communities. Community building isn't a buffet scenario. You can't simply pick and choose the aspects that you like and leave the rest behind. Simply showing up to a monthly meeting or volunteering every Wednesday night isn't enough to sustain collective efforts. Communities aren't built by a handful of leaders, but instead by the contributions of each of its active members. The small-scale power of voice, trust, and commonality sets the stage for sustainable and resilient communities that can last over time. Now that I've mentioned it a few times, I want to nail down exactly what I mean by community resilience. It can be understood in a number of ways and use overlapping concepts, but at its core, it's the idea of preparing for unexpected change through the development of community. Not preparation to return to the norm after a flood, but preparation to gauge and ride the wave in whatever new paradigm may be introduced. To be explicitly clear, community resilience is the existence, development, and engagement of community resources by community members to thrive in an environment characterized by change, uncertainty, unpredictability, and surprise. By bouncing forward. This sounds a little complex, but I assure you, you already know what it means. Simply put, achieving community resilience means that you know how to use what your community has to offer when reorganizing in times of environmental change. Think about this scenario. What if there was an extended electrical blackout? What would you do for lighting? How would you heat your food? You wouldn't even be able to charge your phone or your computer to Google how to do these things. A resilient community would have focused on proactive solutions to probable and unforeseeable problems. They would also be flexible in their implementation. Jerry has a powerful generator, and Aisha has a massive barbecue, and Rishi is experienced in camping and survival. Resilience is when communities are aware of the capital they have, and it's our belief that part of the success of community-based resilience is rooted in this ability to collaborate in the face of challenge. An integral component of proactive preparation for resilient communities is the building and bridging of capital. Social, natural, and human capital are key dimensions of resilience that are interdependent. Combined, they help build strong, resilient communities with a multitude of resources and connections. Think of it all as a network. The power of social capital, of civic participation, composes a sort of resilience web, and the connection creates localized responses that can trigger change. Being able to create change is what we call human agency. Human agency is our ability to be creative with what we have in the face of challenge, to react both individually and collaboratively. Our social systems and our networks are our toolbox. Our tools, such as our ability to leverage social networks to link capital and to pool community resources across groups, makes the innovation machines that we are. When using our social networks, our human agency is working to find creative responses. Let's look at Toronto from a resilience perspective. Like other cities, Toronto is a social place. People from many different walks of life cross paths here every day. New ideas can spread rapidly through our expansive social networks, both online and in reality. But real action is much more difficult to harness. We have the toolbox needed to incite change, but we each have yet to succeed in localizing ourselves in Toronto's spaces, in engaging fully in the potential our neighborhoods hold for building resilience. As a city, we should be aiming to create communities that are resilient and able to withstand shocks from the outside by diving headfirst into a cause that we're passionate about. Find your passion in sustainability and look into how you can engage with an organization through the passion to build resilience. For example, Food Share is an organization in Toronto that deals with hunger in the city. Do you care about community health? What about children's health? Food security? Or maybe you've just seen those videos online of those French fries that won't decompose, and they really freak you out. For whatever reason it is, find an organization that's promoting resilience and get involved. Engage with its members, learn new skills, don't be afraid to try it out. By empowering individuals throughout the community to promote the sustainable growth and production of healthy food, Food Share fits the bill. The organization uses program models to target specific groups, such as low-income communities in Toronto. It works to alleviate the burden of hunger and increase the community's accessibility to sustainable food. Food Share Toronto looks at food production at a macro scale, from growing to transportation to consumption, to understand the impacts of the system that puts food on our table. They're involved in many initiatives focused on providing the community with essential tools and knowledge to ensure a more sustainable future. An important example is Food Share Toronto's work involving community gardens. Community gardens are a great way to promote resilience. Firstly, they expand spaces in our city to help reduce air pollution by converting underused plots of land, containers, rooftops, even people's unused yard spaces into usable garden spaces. Community gardens are used for the production of healthy, local food that contains more nutrient-rich qualities than processed food. Consuming locally grown food also forgoes very long and environmentally disruptive processes that take place with processed foods. Gardeners can learn new skills and make use of old skills, and communicate and relate to one another through work on an initiative that can benefit the whole community. The beneficial social, environmental, and health outcomes of community gardening are actually quite obvious if you think about it. This weekend, go to your neighborhood and walk around. Talk to your neighbors. Find out what initiatives that people around you are pouring their time into in the name of sustainability. Do more than recycle and change your light bulbs. Developing skills of collective agency and resilience can be fun. Learn to can or grow your own food, and help influence sustainable and resilient policies at a larger scale by demanding them in your neighborhood. You do have the power to make a change. It just might be done a little differently than you initially thought. Action through the community is a lot more effective than trying to be sustainable on your own. It's also probably a lot more fun, too.